Hello, my name is Glenn Dyer, and you are watching a Dyer-Situation. Today I'm seeing XXx, The Return of Xander Cage. Probably the most baffling sequel I have ever heard of. Okay. So, let me just tell you the story, I guess. There was a movie released in 2002 called XXx. Just spelled XXX, but you're supposed to pronounce it XXx. And it was a decent, pretty standard, essentially a spy movie. It was Vin Diesel, I want to be James Bond. That was that movie. And for the first part, it was loud, boring, and stupid, and then as it got ramped up into the plot, it was just kind of normal, you know, it's like, that's okay, I guess. But it wasn't very memorable. I can imagine it getting a sequel just because, it's Vin Diesel, it's so cool, it's a Fast and Furious guy, yeah, whatever. But here's the strange thing, it did get a sequel in 2004, that was like, XXX, State of the Union or something like that. And here's the thing. It was one of the biggest box office disappointments of all time. Like, it's actually listed on Wikipedia as one. It had a very, very low box office turnout because Vin Diesel refused to sign up. I'm not sure the exact story why, but he did not star in it. In fact, when I was looking at the movies for this, I saw the first one and I thought it was kind of boring, so since the second was supposed to be even worse, I decided not to bother. Especially since Vin Diesel's not even in it, so I doubt I'm missing essential plot details. So no more XXX movies for 15 years, and then suddenly, this. XXX, The Return of Xander Cage. What? Who asked for this? This is so baffling, so strange. Why now? Why this movie? But here's the craziest part. Here's the part that really confuses me. Everyone seems to be into it. Somehow. Like, its Facebook page has over 1 million likes. When I talk to people about it, they're like, oh yeah, XXX, that's pretty cool. It's like nobody seems confused or bewildered or just like, that was 15 years ago or something like that. They just seem totally accepting of it, like, new XXX movie, okay, cool, I'll watch that. Am I missing something? I'm honestly baffled, like, I don't know, is a new Jingle All the Way gonna come out? Like, Jingle All the Way, 2? And then everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, Jingle All the Way. Jingle All the Way makes a little more sense. I mean, people know what that is. I mean, XXX was a pretty standard, bland movie, even in its time. The only thing I can strike this down to is just Vin Diesel is the strangest action star I have ever heard of. Okay, so not only is there the Fast and Furious franchise, which goes on for all eternity, not only is there the Riddick franchise, which is so strange in many, many different ways. Like, every single movie appears to be, like, taken from some new, bewildering perspective. Like, none of them mesh together as a single franchise. And then there's this, I guess. So, the only thing I can gather from this is just Vin Diesel is out of his mind and picks the strangest things to do. But I guess that's interesting in and of itself. I'd like to see some sort of essay on this. Like, this strange, strange person who also happens to play a tree in a Marvel movie. Like, I don't know, this guy's having an interesting career. That's all I can say. So anyway, I think this movie's gonna be boring and stupid. Let's see it. Well, that ruined my chances of breaking the record. Oh, this year was going so great. I mean, way better than I thought it would. 7 movies. I got through 7 freaking movies without disliking any of them. Not really. And then this movie came. You know what? My record, my all-time record for number of movies in a row that I didn't dislike was 7. It was somewhere around the era of The Legend of Tarzan. I managed to get to 7 movies in a row that weren't bad. And for that to happen, for me to tie that at the beginning of the year, in January, when Hollywood dumps all of its garbage on your face. I'm sorry, I just stole Red Letter Media's line there, but still, like, this time of year, how have I gone on a streak like this? Especially considering last year I had seen, like, practically the opposite. Almost 7 movies in a row that I hated. I think if it weren't for the 5th wave interrupting them, I would have gotten like 9 terrible movies in a row. If you just look at the list, I know that like The Forest and The Revenant and Norm of the North were all like back to back to back and stuff. And oh god, like not this year. This year almost defied expectations. But then we get this. So here's how I try to explain the movie. You know Pierce Brosnan's James Bond? When everything was way over the top and nothing made any sense and everybody hated it. Imagine that with Vin Diesel and skateboards, and you got the new XXx movie. The other movie was pretty much like that too, but at least back then it was 2002, so it was trendy. Like now, even the people leaving the theater, even the people who were clearly the target audience for this, they were leaving and like, that was kind of cheesy, wasn't it? That's what I actually heard. And yes it was. This is hard to describe. So, what's the plot of this movie? So the plot is there's this amazing super weapon that I guess was developed by the government, this evil group of business people, which is part of the problem. We don't actually know who the bad guy is in this movie. Like, they keep alternating between evil business and evil government, but not really specifying on anything. Who have developed this like, box with a button on it, like just one button, and apparently it allows you to spy on everybody immediately, easily, control different surveillance equipment, you know, all that NSA stuff. Oh, and as a bonus feature, can immediately crash a satellite on whatever area you want. Wait, what? That's another thing the movie has. It's a tone problem. They have a box, and supposedly people want it for the surveillance, but all they ever use it for is crashing satellites on people. And here's the thing. A box that crashes satellites on people is impossible. Because the way satellites orbit, you can't just send them careening to Earth by hacking them. That's not how physics works. But, here's the thing. If this were done correctly, that could be funny. That could be cool. Like, some sort of evil... If this were developed by some sort of evil agency or something, some sort of group of terrorists, to just drop satellites on people from space, and that's all it was designed to do. And then Vin Diesel and his gang of cronies, they gotta hook up with all this cool gear and go track them down. That would have been awesome. 5 stars. That would have been great. But instead, The movie seems to be afraid to go that far, and that's why it adds that surveillance shit to it. And here's the thing, I know people are dumb, so I know they don't know the whole satellite can't do that, can't just be dropped from space thing, but people are, I'm pretty sure even the dumbest people know that the NSA can already spy on you really easily. They don't need a magic box with a button. So why even say it has that property? Why say that the government invented it and have people steal it? It just confuses things. In a movie this big and stupid, where Ice Cube shows up and just starts blasting things with a grenade launcher for no particular reason, you can't have a plot that, that is like, what's the word? Can't have a plot that isn't straightforward. You can't have a plot that isn't completely just streamlined and right to the point, because it doesn't work without it. Otherwise, it just gets really boring. And that's the really sad part. This movie had great action in it. Like, honestly, if you just took the action scenes out of context, you're like, wow, this looks pretty damn cool. I mean, Ip Man is in this. Ip Man! The scenes where he's, like, kicking ass, it's awesome! But the plot is so convoluted, so overcomplicated, that it ruins it. And the other thing that ruins it, motivation. I don't know why anybody is doing anything in this movie. We have Vin Diesel himself, who's roped into this somehow. So he, like, his old boss was killed by this satellite dropping on him, so I guess it's for revenge, right? Okay, it's a little weak, but, you know, we can go for it. And then we learn that the people who dropped the satellite on him are former XXx guys. So we're like, okay, so they're like rogue guys? No, they aren't. They just happen to be working for the businessman who developed the box, but he didn't, because he doesn't, like, have it, he had to steal it. And he wants to use it to get all the spy agencies dismantled. Like, all of them around the world, which is ludicrous, but that's what he wants it for. And for some reason, these other XXx guys are backing him up? But we're never told why. They just are. And then when Vin Diesel comes and, like, his team kills the guy, they're on Vin Diesel's side now? Why? This is never explained. They just kind of... We're on the same team, guys. We look out for our own. Okay. And then, once again, for no particular reason, once the government gets it back... I'm sorry if this is spoilers to you. This... yeah, just don't watch the movie. That's all I can say of that one. But then, after the lady gets the lady who leads the CIA, government, evil... Business Corp. Once again, hard to say. I think she's supposed to be with the government, but at the very beginning of the movie she's presenting the box to what looks to be a corporate headquarters building, or is this a government building? But they say they're evil businessmen. So what the hell are they? Make up your mind! Jesus! But yeah, like, she gets orders to kill all the XXx guys. For no reason, from what I could see. Is it because they stole the evil box? The magic box? Is that why? But, what? This doesn't make any sense. Like, you already have the ones who did it in custody. And wouldn't it be easier to just take the ones that are in custody, kill them, and then, like, gather up all the other guys and kill them there? And kill them, like, lure them into a room and start pumping it with carbon monoxide or something? Do you really have to, ambush them with a frickin' SWAT team? So they have to call in Ice Cube? so he can show up with a grenade launcher. Also, the writing in this movie just plain sucks. That's probably why motivation, tone, and all that shit is off, because writing in this is god-awful. There are plenty of lines of dialogue I could point out, but there's this one in particular that got to me. There's this one character, she's like a sniper or something. She's the one in the trailer that made the "that's what she said" joke. Because this movie apparently does think it's coming out in 2006, so I guess it's topical then. She's like holding her sniper gun over the area, right, and listening in on Vin Diesel's conversation, right? And Vin Diesel's talking to Ip Man, and Ip Man pulls out a grenade, and he like pulls the pin, and he tosses it to Vin Diesel, and and Vin Diesel catches it and puts his thumb over the thing so it won't blow up. And, you know, supposed to be a tense scene, I guess. It's not, but that's something else. And basically this character, she's looking at this and says, "A grenade? That is so 1990s." Or something along those lines. And, oh no, it's like, grenade, what is this, World War II? Or, like, she references, basically she says a one-liner insinuating that grenades are old-fashioned and it's weird to be using one. Since when? Exactly? I mean, I think it would be unusual, like in a normal first-person shooter game, if nobody had any grenades. Like, they're a pretty standard loadout. And especially since later on in the movie, Ice Cube shows up with a grenade launcher. I know it's not exactly a handheld grenade, but still same basic concept, and he's supposed to be looking like a badass. So what was that? In fact, considering the way that scene was being done with Vin Diesel holding down the pin and stuff, and they're tossing it back and forth, considering how that went, I don't think that the movie people actually think the grenades are old-fashioned and boring. I think they just had her say it because we gotta give them something to do. And that's just... that's just a prime example of bad writing right there. We gotta give her something funny to say. She's the funny lesbian character. Like... God, that's horrible. And that's this movie. It's just, like... horrible writing. No, the characters don't have any good motivations. Tone is all over the place, and it could have done with a lot of streamlining. So that's my full critique, I suppose, on XXx, The Return of Money. So until next time, I'm Glenn Dyer, and you have been watching A Dyer-Situation.